Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the seventh edition of Samvaad, our annual business leadership conclave. I am Puneet Bhardwaj, your host for the inaugural session. It is my privilege to welcome our faculty and my fellow students and thank them for their gracious presence. We begin proceedings with a quote from Jack Welch. He said, "Before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others." This quote describes the shift in mindset you need to take as you move into the role of a leader, and that is to focus on growing your team and the people around you. Our theme, Transitioning India from Growth Leader to World Leader, encapsulates this shift in role that the world foresees for India. Panel discussions throughout the day will aim to understand the role corporate India could play in accelerating this transition. As we commence our inaugural session, we are honored to have luminaries from industry and academia with us on the stage. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our guests. Our chief guest for the occasion is Mr. Rajesh Mago. Mr. Mago is a person who needs no introduction. He's the co founder and group CEO of Make My Trip, India's leading online travel company. He also serves as the vice chairman for the Internet and Mobile Association of India and chairperson of ASSOCHAM's National Council on Travel and Tourism. A believer in India's digital opportunity and a backer of many young Indian tech companies, Mr. Mago is passionate about transforming businesses and leveraging technology to create disproportionate value for customers. Over the years, he has played a crucial role in multiple landmark events of Make My Trip, including its listing on NASDAQ in 2010, the merger of Make My Trip and Ivivo Group, and most recently played a pivotal role in ensuring Make My Trip showed resilience and bounced back stronger post the pandemic. He has received multiple industry awards, including being recognized by the Economic Times Human Capital Awards as the People Focused CEO of the Year and Bloomberg CFO Award. He was recently awarded E-commerce Leader of the Year by ET Retail. He has also served as the director on the board of Flipkart. His entrepreneurial spirit has transformed not only the Indian travel and tourism industry, but the Indian startup industry on the whole. We are delighted to have him here as our chief guest. I request the audience to join me in welcoming him with a round of applause. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to our guest of honor, Mr. Gopal Chandra Sikdar. Mr. Sikdar is an senior executive vice president with Reliance Industries and has previously served as an executive director and refinery head at Indian Oil Corporation Limited. He earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from NIT Durgapur in 1986 and is an alumni of our course, a 1997 NMP graduate. Mr. Sikdar is a specialist in the field of operation and maintenance. He has brought many changes in reliable refinery and petrochemical complex operation and maintenance, including successful implementation of Total Productive Maintenance (TPM), and had obtained TPM Excellence Award in 2009, as well as Award for Excellence in Consistent TPM Commitment certification of refinery by JIPM Japan in 2011. Mr. Sikdar has been conferred with Distinguished Alumnus Award by NIT Durgapur during their 18th convocation in the category of Excellence in Corporate and Industry. I request the audience to welcome him with a round of applause. We would also like to welcome Professor Sangeeta Shah Bhardwaj, our acting director here at MDI Gurgaon. Professor Sangeeta is a professor of information management area. She is an MSc in mathematics, a Master of Management Studies, an ME in Systems Information, and PhD from BITS Pilani. Professor Bhardwaj teaches courses in AI intelligence and machine learning with the objective to prepare students to provide AI leadership in organizations. She has had a long and illustrious academic career spanning more than 2 decades. Please welcome Professor Bhardwaj with a round of applause. We also welcome Professor Sumita Rai. She is the Dean Industry Connect and also the current lead of doctoral programs at MDI. She has a PhD in organizational behavior from IIT Kanpur. She is also director on board of IFCI Infrastructure Development Limited. Please welcome Professor Rai with a round of applause. I would now request our acting director, Professor Bhardwaj, to welcome and greet our chief guest, Mr. Margot with the bouquet as a token of appreciation. A round of applause. I request our Dean Industry Connect, Professor Rai, to welcome and greet our guest of honor, Mr. Sikdar, with a bouquet as a token of appreciation. I now request members of the Samvaad team, Sangram and Ramesh, to welcome and greet Professor Bhardwaj and Professor Rai with bouquets as token of our appreciation. Sangram and Ramesh. Sangram. I would now like to request Richa and Abhilasha to present bouquets to Professor Kulshresh, lead EGP program, and Professor Tripathi, faculty in charge, PGDMBM program. I would now request the dignitaries on stage to kindly join us for the lamp lighting ceremony. I would also invite Professor Kulshresh and Professor Tripathi to join our dignitaries for the lamp lighting ceremony. As we move forward, let's take a look at this short video highlighting the 7 year remarkable journey of Samvad. I would now like to request our acting director, Professor Sangeeta Shah Bhardwaj, to enlighten us with her kind words. Ma'am.
Thank you. Uh, Mr. Rajesh Megarji, Mr. Gopal Chandra Sigdar, Madam Dean IC, Professor Sumita Rai, invited guests, my faculty colleagues who are here, and dear students. I mean, congratulations for organizing this event, which is the 7th Management Conclave Samvaad. You know, this morning I was thinking about the theme of Samvaad. And then last 2, 3 days, August 23rd, 6:03 p.m., we have already witnessed that India is a world leader and our ISRO scientists are in fact world leaders. And this theme this theme resonates so well in today's environment that every person sitting in India or outside India is celebrating that success. That is what, we want our world leaders to be. And hence, congratulations for thinking big, thinking when you think big and when you have that vision, you will try to achieve that. So you have to keep on thinking, you have to dream big to achieve that. So I was again, thinking like transitioning India from growth leaders to world leaders. Uh, we have many leaders in the world who are of Indian origin and who are of foreign origin, who have, uh, you know, who have left an indelible mark on our world. Indra Nooyi is one such leader. There are many leaders, and of course, Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. What is important is they did not confine themselves to the boardrooms and they transcended the boundaries and transformed the industries. We have two leaders sitting here, one in the oil space and another in the digital space, who have similarly done the job in their respective domains. But when you talk of becoming world leaders or when you talk of becoming global leaders, you have to rise above your current status, whatever it is, and you have to have that vision which is not confined to your sector, which is not confined to your country, which is not confined to world, which is, even going beyond there, beyond that. So what I would say that these world leaders, they embrace challenges as opportunities and setback as stepping stones. It's okay. Failures are okay, but you got to learn from those failures. They their stories are not just about financial success because that is not enough in today's environment, but about the relentless pursuit of excellence and an unwavering commitment to their vision and passion to make world a better place. Believe in me, all these world leaders are not only having a very, very deterministic attitude, but they are very passionate to what they are doing. Becoming a world leader demands more than academic prowess. It demands character. It demands resilience. It demands deep understanding of global dynamics. And it is about realizing the problems that the globe is facing today and in turn we are facing. That is about climate change, economic inequality, technical disruptions which are not confined by borders. And hence, you got to think beyond borders. As students of business school, you have that power to shape to, to give solutions, to give sustainable solutions to the world and to your people. However, I would also remind you that leadership is not a solitary journey. It is about collaboration, it is about empathy, it is about inclusivity. And At this point of time, I would also like to remind you of the words of John F. Kennedy, leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. So, you are already on a learning path. Even after completing this course, you will continue to be on your learning path, and both leadership and learning should go together for you. So, in conclusion, I would just like to congratulate you once again. I would like to tell you that your theme has given you, it has been decided by you people only, but it has given you, an insight into that you have to think bigger, you have to dream bigger, and it is not simply dream. It's not simply about dreaming. It's about executing those dreams. It's about thinking what steps you need to take so that whatever you decide for your future, you try to achieve that. And this should not come as part of your, your course and as part of what you are doing. Each one of you have to carve your individual path, and you have to achieve the objectives and goals that you set forward for yourself. So, congratulations and thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts. I would now like to invite our guest of honor, Mr. Sikdar, to kindly share his insightful words with us.
Respected Professor Sangeeta Bhardwaj, Director MDI, Mr. Rajesh Mago, co-founder and CEO of Make My Trip, Professor Sumita Rai, Dean Industry Connect, Professor Chinmaya Gulsrestha, Dean Executive Growth Program, Professor Shribes Tripathi, Faculty in charge of PGDM BM program. सभी को मेरा सादर नमस्कार. It's my great pleasure and honor that your 7th annual leadership conclave, Samvaad, has given me an opportunity to speak something in front of you. I really do not know whether I'll be able to justice with the time or not. So if I please overshoot, please let me give a hint so that I can close wherever I am. And another thing is that I'll be speaking both in English and Hindi. So I think it should be acceptable to all of you. This MDI is the pioneer for this executive graduate management program. It started in 1987 by the then government with the view that there will be a collaboration between central government employees, central public sector, state public sector, and private organizations. And on in that those days, this kind of mix had been there. Now, of course, it has taken a much bigger shape. What had been in the core of that program that still remains, but its shape has taken such a big that probably directly cannot be correlated, but basic theme is still there. Basic theme, what Madam was telling, that collaboration, what we talk, what we discuss, what we think, what we dream, everything has to be there to become a leader. So I am not talking about the leader as an individual. I'll be talking India as a leader. India has to lead. I and you will contribute to this leadership, but India has to lead the total globe. I think we are on the right path, and we are doing present leadership also doing extraordinarily good job. As I said, 26 years ago, I was one of you. I was sitting in those benches in this class also, in this auditorium also. Che. That is in, and in fact, last year was the silver jubilee year. So far, my batch is concerned. Once I gone back to my industry, so I came from the oil industry at that point of time, and by name it is Indian Oil Corporation Limited. At that point, I was there, and when I gone back to my organization, I started thinking, I started seeing the things in different way. Because I being an engineer, so my way of working, thinking always was in line with the, because I'm mechanical engineer, in that direction. But when you get the input from this national management program or postgraduate diploma management program or present name of this program, your thinking, your style of working, your talking way of talking to your people will be entirely different. Your acceptance, your listening powers, everything will be different once you go back to your industry. I believe you all have been going through this course. It's a very, in our time it was 15-month program, 12 months in classroom and 3 months in project. It was so intensive, it was so inputs of knowledge. It is really I should not say tough. It is very, very tough to accumulate, to assimilate, to digest all those things. But under the same mental condition, probably you are going right now. So I understand what is the kind of pressure, what is the kind of I should say mental strength right now is required for a PGDM, or for that matter PGDM, or for that matter executive MBA or management program. This I should say, or this I am sure, this 18 month you will remember throughout your life, and one point of life you will always tell, this 18th month was the best month in my life. All those, although we had been going through this tremendous journey, but whatever you learn, whatever you assimilate, whatever you understand during this 18-month program, it simply cannot be compared with any other things. Let me talk about our basic education. Most of you may be engineer, most of me maybe somebody chartered engineer, maybe somebody doctor as well. But when, for example, if you are a doctor, so you get a chance to work whatever you have taught in the college, or uh, I mean in your previous academics. But still, even when you are a doctor, you are not necessary, you are going to get what you have learned in the college. Every patient is different, everybody is different, every human being who will come to you, they are different. If anything if anything come when what is your in line with your education, you are like, but it does not happen rather it has happened very rarely. When it does not happen, what you have to do, you have to you have to go through, you have to find out various management tools and techniques to sell through. Otherwise you won't be able to go through the organizational ladder, whether it is a private, whether it is a public, whether wherever you go. You have to inculcate, you have to find out various tools which are available in today's days, earlier days also, and everyone has to learn, everyone has to apply that. You may, the most important thing is that how you apply your learning. कॉलेज में आपने टॉप किया, ओके फाइन, एब्सोल्युटली फाइन, बट इट नेसेसरी, इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी जो आप इंडस्ट्री में जाके भी टॉप करेंगे, कोई जरूरत नहीं, इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी. Education is giving you a strength. Education is giving you a thought. जे आज मेरे पास, आई नो दिस मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग, आई नो दिस मेटलर्जिकल इंजीनियरिंग, आई नो द सिविल इंजीनियरिंग, but how do I apply in the industry? That makes you success in the industry. That makes you leader in the country. That makes you a leader in any of the लाइफ फेज यू गो थ्रू। उसके ऊपर अगर आप इंडिया, यू ऑल नो इट इज ए diversity, diverse, whether it is culture, whether it is location, whether it is language, whatever you say, there is a very diverse. So leaders' job is also to bring unity in diversity. यहाँ पे मुझे पता नहीं है पूरे भारतवर्ष की सब लोग है कि नहीं है, लेकिन आप तभी यहाँ सबके पास आपका लीडरशिप क्वालिटी होगा, क्योंकि इंडस्ट्री में और जब जाएंगे तो पूरे भारतवर्ष के लोग होगा। ठीक है, वहां पे आपकी चॉइस का नहीं है, इंडस्ट्री में पूरा भारतवर्ष के लोग होगा। आपको सबका सुनना है, सबके ऊपर विचार करना है, सबको वेटेज देना है, एंड फाइनली यू हैव टू गिव योर फाइनल सजेशन और फाइनल वर्डिक्ट। फर्स्ट द लिसनिंग पावर, ये आपको इनकैलकुलेट करना है, ये सीखना है। जब मुझे पहले सुनना है, आप यू माइट हैव 20 और 30 और हंड्रेड्स ऑफ सबऑर्डिनेट्स, बट आप अगर उसको सुनेंगे ही नहीं, हाउ यू कैन टच देम। अगर कोई भी जगह पे, कहीं भी जगह पे, you all might have seen this movie of this Munna Bhai MBBS. What happened? He is not a doctor at all, but he trusts the heart of each and everybody. So that is what is the job of a leader. That is what you all have to do, and you are getting the adequate input from this program, executive program, and I believe that you all will be successful in your in the times to come when you will be actually in the industry. जहाँ तक इस कॉन्क्लेव की बात है, जहाँ तक इंडिया की बात है, हम तो विश्व गुरु रह चुका है। यू ऑल नो, यू ऑल नो कि हम विश्व गुरु रह चुका है। 800 साल करीब हमारे ऊपर इन्वेंट हुआ है, वो दैट इज अ डिफरेंट इशू। इफ आई नेगेट दिस 800 years, हम पहले विश्व गुरु थे और आज विश्व गुरु है। 800 साल जो बीच में गया वो आप निकाल दीजिए। You read the ancient history. Don't read the history which was taught in our school. That you forget for the purpose of school days. You read our ancient history. It taught us. अब सभी लोगों को पता है जे हमारे पास नालंदा जैसे महाविद्यालय थे, हमारे पास विक्रमशिला महाविद्यालय थे, हमारे पास तक्षशिला महाविद्यालय थे, हमारे पास मिथिला महाविद्यालय थे, हमारे पास वल्लभी महाविद्यालय थे, हमारे पास पुष्पगिरी महाविद्यालय थे। ऐसे और कहीं पे बहुत सारे महाविद्यालय थे जिसमें पूरे दुनिया से सब लोग आते थे पढ़ने के लिए। इट इज बिकॉज हम विश्वगुरु रह चुका है, और उस टाइम गुरु हमारा देश में मिश्र मिलते थे, और इसीलिए आप यू ऑल नो मैनी पीपल हैव कम टू आवर कंट्री टू गेट द बेस्ट ऑफ एजुकेशन अक्रॉस द ग्लोब एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम। नो अगर नो अगर आपकी लीडरशिप, आपको वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप बनना है, लेट अस टॉक अबाउट द एज इंडिया एज ए होल, नॉट दैट यू एंड मी अलोन। अगर मुझे पूरे हमारा देश को विश्व गुरु बनना है, तो हमको पहले क्या करना पड़ेगा? हमारा देश में कुछ फंडामेंटल्स है, हर देश में है, हमारे देश में भी है। कुछ फंडामेंटल्स है, उस फंडामेंटल्स को बहुत स्ट्रांग करना है। व्हाट आर दोस फंडामेंटल? एक्सेस टू एजुकेशन। एजुकेशन में सबका एक्सेस होना चाहिए। एक्सेस टू एनर्जी, एनर्जी के ऊपर सबका एक्सेस होना चाहिए। बिना एनर्जी में, आई गिव सम फिगर्स आल्सो, जब बिना एनर्जी में कोई कंट्री डेवलप नहीं हो सकता है। साउंड सस्टेनेबल इकोनॉमी, हम अगर पिछले 800 साल छोड़ दे तो हमारा इकोनॉमी स्ट्रांग था, हमारा इकोनॉमी आज का डेट में भी स्ट्रांग है, और इन फ्यूचर डेज आर काउंटेड। अभी हम 5th पोजीशन में हैं, डेज आर काउंटेड, विल बी कमिंग द 3rd पोजीशन। डेज आर काउंटेड, दिस आर नंबर्ड, इट इज वी आर जस्ट गोइंग टू कम। स्ट्रांग जुडिशरी होना चाहिए, स्ट्रांग लेजिस्लेटर होना चाहिए, आपके पास लेजिस्लेशन का एग्जीक्यूशन स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, आपके पास फ्रीडम टू द प्रेस होना चाहिए। मुझे जो लगता है ये सारे चीज हमारा देश में भरपूर अवेलेबल। ओनली प्रॉब्लम इज दैट, और अदर वाज दैट, आज का डेट में मेरे को लगता नहीं ये प्रॉब्लम भी है, जिसको इक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, इसको जिस हिसाब से इसको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होना चाहिए वो नहीं होता था इवन आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस। बट आज का डेट में अगर हम देखेंगे, आई गिव सम एग्जांपल्स आल्सो। आज का डेट में अगर हम देखेंगे, probably we are able to give the equal importance across the society to so that these facilities are available to each and every fellow citizen of our country। अगर ये है, अगर ये होता है, अगर ये है, तो हमारा इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी, एक्सटर्नल सिक्योरिटी दोनों स्ट्रांग है। एंड आपको पता है आज का डेट में हमारा एक्सटर्नल सिक्योरिटी कितना स्ट्रांग है, सब लोगों को पता है। स्पेशली पोस्ट कोविड ऑनवर्ड और अदर कोविड ऑनवर्ड, हमारा हमारा जो सिक्योरिटी है, हमारा जो एक्सेप्टेंस है अक्रॉस द ग्लोब कितना अच्छा है, ये आप सब लोगों को जानते हैं। आई नीड नॉट टू टेल बिट मोर अबाउट इट। If I talk about, I told that energy is a very, very important sector. Let me talk about something about energy. इसका मतलब क्या है? What do you mean by the energy? What is the relation between energy and the society? पहले तो एनर्जी अवेलेबल होना चाहिए, ठीक है। दूसरा, उस एनर्जी में सबका एक्सेसिबिलिटी होना चाहिए। तीसरा, एनर्जी शुड बी अफोर्डेबल। ये तीन चीज होना चाहिए। नाउ ये एनर्जी कहाँ से आता है? एनर्जी आपकी फॉसिल फ्यूल से आता है, ऑयल, गैस, नेचुरल गैस। अभी हाइड्रोजन इज आल्सो द सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी एंड इट इज अ फ्यूचर फ्यूल एज इट इज बीइंग टोल्ड, और रादर आई पर्सनली बिलीव आल्सो द एनर्जी विल बी द हाइड्रोजन इन द फ्यूचर फ्यूल। आपके पास सोलर पावर है, आपके पास विंड पावर है, हाइड्रोइलेक्ट्रिक पावर है, न्यूक्लियर पावर है, कंप्रेस्ड बायोगैस है, कुकिंग ऑयल है, ये सारे चीज से आपको एनर्जी मिलता है। लेकिन ये एनर्जी जब मैं प्रोड्यूस करता हूँ, how do I produce it? That has become the talk of the talk across the globe. मैं एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस करके उस ड्यू टू दैट एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन आई शुड नॉट मेक अवर कंट्री और मेक द वर्ल्ड इनहैबिटेबल। ये हैबिटेबल होना जरूरी है। आप सब लोगों को पता है, जो प्री इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया में टेम्परेचर, प्री इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया में यू कैन से अबाउट 1850 और एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम। सो प्री इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया में टेम्परेचर, ग्लोबल एवरेज टेम्परेचर कितना था? 13.5। नाउ 13.5 से आप सब लोगों को पता है कॉप्स, सीओपी, कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टीज, आप सब लोगों को पता है सीओपी होता है। नाउ 28 सीओपी इज गोइंग टू बी हेड। सीओपी में क्या बात होता है? सीओपी में यही बात होता है, जे मैं कार्बन कंटेंट CO2 को कैसे कम करूं, इमिशन को कैसे कम करूं, so that world remains habitable for our future generation, as well as the energy which I am producing today, I should have the empathy that it gets across the globe। आज का डेट में हमारा दुनिया में, हमारा ग्लोब में गरीब देश भी है, धनी देश भी है, एंड गरीब और धनी के अंदर इतना डिफरेंस है, इट वॉज बियॉन्ड इमेजिन। सो हमारा जो आज का डेट में हमारा जो काम है एज ए लीडर, हमारा देश का लीडर ये दिखाया, आई विल कम टू दैट आल्सो। हमारा देश का लीडर ये दिखाया भी है कोविड 19 में, जो हाउ टू टेक केयर ऑफ द ग्लोब। ग्लोब को सबको एक साथ लेके कैसे चलना है, दैट आई विल आल्सो कम टू दिस फिगर। नाउ अगर इस हमारा देश का डेवलपमेंट देखे और कोई भी देश का डेवलपमेंट देखे, तो देयर शुड बी सस्टेनेबल गोल्स। व्हाट डू मीन बाय सस्टेनेबल गोल्स? देयर आर 17 सस्टेनेबल गोल्स अक्रॉस द ग्लोब, एंड इस सस्टेनेबल गोल्स के एक इंडेक्स है। उस इंडेक्स के ऊपर आपको डिपेंड करता है वेयर यू आर। लेट मी टेल द जस्ट नेम ऑफ दिस 17 sustainable goals, probably you all know, still I am telling। First is no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and reduction, climate action, which is the most important, life below water. We are also thinking life below water. You live on the land, then peace, justice, and strong institution, and finally partnership for goals. That is what our present leader is showing. How the whole globe he is making the partner, so that every country can prosper. No, as I was telling about the energy, where we are, sustainable goal index is a measured. Either it is measured from 0 to 100, or it is measured to 0 to 1. आज का डेट में हमारा जो रैंकिंग है और मार्किंग है, दैट इज वी आर 58.8 out of 100. What does it means? It means the 0.6 million tons of oil equivalent is available with me, or rather per capita consumption. Each one of us consume 0.6 million equivalent of oil energy. What what is the global average? Global average is 1.8. मतलब हमसे 3 गुना ज्यादा, सीधा सीधा हमसे 3 गुना ज्यादा. नो, अगर बेस्ट कंट्री जिसका ग्लोबल सस्टेनेबिलिटी इंडेक्स अगर 0.9 है, हाउ मच एनर्जी दे कंज्यूम 4 मिलियन टन्स ऑफ ऑयल इक्विवेलेंट. मैं मान लिया वी ऑल आर वेरी ओबीडियंट इंडियंस, सो हम मान लिया हम सुपर एफिशिएंट हो जाएंगे, अच्छा एफिशिएंट होंगे. तो मैं मान लिया जी हमको 0.9 एच डी आई इंडेक्स आने के लिए मेरे को नॉट आई नीड नॉट टू गो फॉर 4, प्रोबब्ली विल बी डूइंग एट 3 मिलियन टन्स ऑफ ऑयल इक्विवेलेंट. अगर मैं वो भी करूं, दैट मीन्स मेरे को 5 गुना एनर्जी कंजम्पशन बढ़ाना है. आज का डेट में हमारा देश में जो एनर्जी टोटल देश कंज्यूम करता है, दैट इज 800 बिलियन टन्स ऑफ ऑयल इक्विवेलेंट. अगर इसको मैं 5 गुना करूं तो ये आता है 4,000 मिलियन टन्स ऑफ ऑयल इक्विवेलेंट. तो इतना एनर्जी हमको चाहिए. नाउ हाउ डू आई प्रोड्यूस दिस एनर्जी? ये एनर्जी मैं जब प्रोड्यूस करूंगा तो उसमें ग्रीन हाउस गैस होगा. ना ग्रीन हाउस गैस होगा तो ग्लोबल टेम्परेचर बढ़ेगा. तो ग्लोबल टेम्परेचर बढ़ेगा so ग्लेशियर मेल्ट होगा. दैट मीन्स 13.5. ऑलरेडी वी आर I think we have kept a target 1.5, but we are trying, or rather whole world is trying to bring it 1 plus the your pre-industrial area. That means 13.5 to maximum 14.5. बट इसमें होगा क्या? यू ऑल हैव सीन. आपकी जब आप छोटे थे और आज के डेट में आप देखिएगा, टोटल ग्लोब में टोटल टेम्परेचर और एनवायरनमेंट एवरीथिंग हैज चेंज्ड. बारिश, रेनी सीजन का भी आजकल पता नहीं चलता है. इट इज ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ व्हाट? ग्लोबल वार्मिंग. नाउ इस ग्लोबल वार्मिंग को आपको कंट्रोल करना है. दैट इज व्हाई एवरीबॉडी इज टॉकिंग अबाउट नेट जीरो. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय नेट जीरो? नेट जीरो का मतलब ये नहीं है कि मैं कार्बन प्रोड्यूस करूंगा ही नहीं. नेट जीरो का मतलब ये है मैं ऐड नहीं करूंगा, मैं ऐड नहीं करूंगा. और ये जरूरी इसीलिए है, हमारा देश का जो और चीन का जो दिस नेट जीरो गोल है, दैट इज 2070. सम ऑफ द कंट्री हैज गिवन, yeah, it will be 240 2040. Some of the country has given 2050. Again, it does not mean जो मैं नहीं प्रोड्यूस करूंगा बट मैं दूसरी जगह से खरीद के लाऊंगा. व्हाट दैट यूरोप इज डूइंग, व्हाट दैट यूके इज ट्राइंग टू डू, they are outsourcing everything from your India or China, all those places. अगर मैं ऐसा करूं तो ultimately I am not achieving the goal. Ultimately achieving the goal means overall across the globe I have to reduce. अगर ये मैं कर सकूं, that is how the sustainable, I mean green energy is to be produced. Now अब मैं बोल रहा था ऑल्टरनेटिव एनर्जी. आप सब लोगों को पता है अक्रॉस द ग्लोब 5 तो हमारा देश में, और सबसे ज्यादा वो भी हमारा देश में. दैट प्लेस इज एट जोधपुर एंड इट इज प्रोड्यूसिंग 2 to 4 5 megawatt of electricity. So that is what is the our achievement. Okay, I'll shortcut. I think he's seeing the watch. Let me I'll tell you one more story. It's not a story. It's how much energy I need. Petroleum, you all know that there is something called petrochemical product consumption. Okay? The petrochemical production in our country is what? 4 kg per capita. Sorry, 12 kg per capita. Global average is 35 kg per capita. Within India, नॉर्थ ईस्ट में 4 kg है, और अब मैं यूएस में जाऊं तो 90 kg। और हमारा पॉपुलेशन कितना है? हमारा यंगेस्ट पॉपुलेशन कंटिन्यू टू बी यंगर, तो हमारा जी ये पेट्रोकेमिकल कंजम्पशन है, ये बढ़ जाएगा। तो मुझे अगर 10 केजी से 30 केजी भी जाना है, तो मुझे 3 गुना बढ़ाना है। एंड जस्ट इमेजिन, मल्टीप्लाइड माय पॉपुलेशन, हाउ मच वी आर, what is the kind of energy is required for our country, and that we as a our country, and we have to generate. In your leadership it will be generated, in country's leadership it will be generated. I am very sure this our country will be able to meet it. That's why government of India has taken a initiative that presently crude to convert to the petrochemical product is 5%. So India has taken a target by 2030, it will be 15%. So how I am increasing the PII, that is petrochemical intensity index, that also it is taken care by our country, so that we, every one of us gets that facility available, so that you can get that kind of petrochemical product available, and each and every citizen of our country gets it. Similarly, to reduce the carbon emission, so सबसे ज्यादा कार्बन emission कोल होता है, ठीक है, उसके बाद अभी ऑयल होता है, उसके बाद सबसे क्लीनेस्ट फ्यूल, फॉसिल फ्यूल आज का डेट में है नेचुरल गैस। उसमें हमारा जो कंजम्पशन, हमारा जो एनर्जी बास्केट अगर मैं देखूं, तो उस एनर्जी बास्केट में मेरा 6% शेयर इज बाय दिस नेचुरल गैस। This target has been set, it will be now 15%. So we are going to use that also. You all know that city gas distribution system, it has come many areas, and it will maybe within next few years whole country will be the city gas distribution will be available. Government of our present government has done a lot of things, PLI scheme, everything has been announced. Very recently they have defined what is hydrogen, green hydrogen also. बिकॉज ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन का भी एक होता है हाउ इट इज ग्रीन, दैट मीन्स मुझे जो जहां से स्टार्ट टू एंड तक जो मुझे मेरा सब कुछ ग्रीन होना चाहिए, दैट मीन्स ग्रीन वाटर, ग्रीन पावर, ये दोनों होगा, उसके बाद आपका ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन होगा। तो अभी डिफाइन कर दिया जे, वेरी रिसेंटली दे हैव डिफाइंड व्हाट इज द ग्रीन एनर्जी, ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन। So they have concluded end to end, तो स्टार्ट टू एंड तक आपको जो एनर्जी, जो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड आप प्रोड्यूस करेंगे, उसका कितना होना चाहिए, सो दैट इट कैन बी टर्न एज ए ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन। ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन का भी बहुत सारे नाम है, आपको रेड हाइड्रोजन, ब्राउन हाइड्रोजन, ब्लू हाइड्रोजन, ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन, देयर आर सो मेनी टाइप्स ऑफ हाइड्रोजन। So if you go to the CST portal, you will be able to find what are the different kind of hydrogens are there. मैं छोटा सा एक मेरा जो, अगर मैं ये खुद नहीं करता तो मैं बोलता ये इट इज ए स्टोरी। जब ये कोविड-19 हुआ, आई वाज द हेड ऑफ पानीपत रिफाइनरी। सो एक दिन इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, इट विल बी 28th और 29th ऑफ अप्रैल, चीफ मिनिस्टर ऑफ हरियाणा वांट्स टू टॉक टू मी। सो रात 9 बजे वो हमारा वहाँ जो डिप्टी डीसी है, वो मुझे फ़ोन किया, चीफ मिनिस्टर आपसे बात करना चाहता है। अब बोले मैं कैसे बात करूँ, मुझे तो नंबर नहीं है उनका। तो बोला मैं लगा देता हूँ, अब बात कीजिए। तो ही कनेक्टेड द कॉल, देन चीफ मिनिस्टर सीधा मेरे को पूछा, जो आप यहाँ से, आपका वहाँ से लिक्विड हाइड्रोजन मेडिकल ग्रेड दे सकता है कि नहीं? तो मैं बोला हाँ सर दे सकते, लेकिन मेरा प्लांट का थ्रूपुट कटना पड़ेगा। तो बोला वो प्लांट बंद कर दो, ये सिंपली टोल्ड प्लांट बंद कर दो। नेक्स्ट डे ही केम टू पानीपत, वेरी नेक्स्ट डे आया। तो उनका कारण यही था, जो ऑक्सीजन का उस टाइम इतना कमी था, जो नियरर टू द ऑक्सीजन सोर्स हॉस्पिटल बनाना, नियरर टू द ऑक्सीजन सोर्स। तो उससे पहले चाइना में क्या कंडीशन हो रहा था, एवरी वी ऑल आर सीइंग दिस व्हाट्सएप, दैट इज अ वेरी बिग यूनिवर्सिटी नाउअडेज, और उस यूनिवर्सिटी से आप देख रहे थे कंट्री वो चाइना में क्या क्या हो रहा है, तो हम तो उस टाइम डर गए थे जब भैया हमारा देश में ऐसा होगा तो सारे ही मर जाएंगे हम। लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है। द वे इंडिया हैज हैंडल कोविड-19, कोई दुनिया में कोई कंट्री नहीं कर सकता। नाउ लेट मी अगेन टेल माय स्टोरी। तो उन्होंने बोला जी 4 किलोमीटर दूर फ्रॉम द पानीपत रिफाइनरी यहाँ जगह मिला उनको, जी यहाँ पे वो हॉस्पिटल बनाए। तो हॉस्पिटल बनाने वाले को पूछा, जी 500 बेड का हॉस्पिटल बनाना है एंड ईच बेड शुड हैव द ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई, आपको कितने दिन लगेगा? और हमको पूछा जी आप वहां से लाइन लेके यहाँ हॉस्पिटल हॉस्पिटल तक कितने दिन में लाएंगे? हम बोले सर मेरे को लगेगा, पहले तो उन्होंने बोला जी हाँ 10-15 दिन लगेगा, 15 दिन लगेगा और 12 दिन लगेगा। तो हम बोले सर उसके अंदर मैं ला के, बट मैटर एंड्स देयर। हॉस्पिटल वाज constructed within during that period, and we provided oxygen during that period. It is a matter of only 12 to 15 days that 500 bedded hospital, each bed had the oxygen connection was made ready. So that is the kind of, that is the kind of energy, that is the kind of strain, that is the kind of willingness we have. और इसमें मैं सिर्फ सरकार, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट और पीएसयू की बात नहीं करूंगा। उस टाइम यू नो दैट ऑक्सीजन ज़्यादा दूर तक पाइप में नहीं जा सकता है उसका, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली इट्स गोइंग टू द ह्यूमन बॉडी, ऑल 100% केयर यू हैव टू टेक। तो हमने उसमें स्पेशल मेटलर्जी चाहिए, एसएस का मेटलर्जी चाहिए, स्पेशल टाइप का वाल्व चाहिए। तो हमारे पास एक कंट्रोल वाल्व नहीं था, बिकॉज आई हैड टू ब्रॉट डाउन दिस प्रेशर फ्रॉम 18 केजी तो 4 केजी। तो मैंने एक जो कंट्रोल वाल्व बनाता है उनको फोन किया। हम बोला देखिए हमको एक कंट्रोल वाल्व चाहिए, तो ये इस दीज आर द स्पेसिफिकेशन। बोला हाँ सर हम दे देंगे। तो उन्होंने बोला, हमने पूछा उनको, नेचुरली ही इज अ प्राइवेट प्लेयर, सो आई आस्क्ड भाई कितना पैसा लगेगा? बोले सर एक पैसा नहीं लगेगा, आप मेरे को सिर्फ जीरो वर्क ऑर्डर वैल्यू का एक परचेज ऑर्डर दे दीजिए। सो दैट इज द काइंड ऑफ यूनिकनेस ऑफ दिस कंट्री। एवरीबडी अंडरस्टूड व्हाट इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ द ऑक्सीजन, एंड उस ऑक्सीजन का इम्पोर्टेंस में हाउ द लाइफ वाज सर्वाइव। कोविड-19 में हमारा देश वैक्सीन बनाया, ठीक है? हमारा देश का वैक्सीन हमारे देश में 100 करोड़ लोगों को लगाया, 124 और 130 करोड़ लोगों को लगाया विद इन द वेरी शॉर्टेस्ट पॉसिबल टाइम, और यही ने पूरे देश को बाँटा। So that believe, we believe the global, total globe is one village. We believe in brotherhood. We believe in one family. We believe in uniqueness of everything. So that is how we have uh, gone through. And then let me tell you another small issues, that health and education policy. Education policy I already told. If I talk about the health policy, you all know Swachh Bharat Abhiyan 2014 में, जहाँ पे 40% लोगों को पास अफोर्डेबल नहीं था टॉयलेट बाथरूम, और विद इन, और आज का डेट में, और अदर आई शुड से 2019-20 तक 100% लोगों के पास दिस फैसिलिटी वाज प्रोवाइडेड। सो दैट इज द काइंड ऑफ इंटरेस्ट हेल्थ इज टेकिंग। लास्ट डाटा आई वुड लाइक टू शेयर, कंट्री with respect to GDP, USA, followed by China, followed by Japan, followed by Germany, followed by India, followed by UK, followed by France, followed by Italy, followed by Russia, followed by Canada. So we stand in fifth. बट ये जो 10 कंट्री हमने नाम लिया है, इस 10 कंट्री का अगर लोन देखेंगे, उसमें भी एक यू विल गाइड है ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ लोन दिस कंट्री हैज टेकन। लेट मी टेल अबाउट यूएसए, 93,980 यूएस डॉलर पर कैपिटा, सबके हर एक सर पे इतना लोन है। चाइना 13,701, जापान 34,841, जर्मनी 74,607, and then UK 1,29,203, France 1,07,244, and Italy 42,300, Russia 2,400, and Canada 52,300. But what about our country? It is only 437. So this is the kind of economics today. एक चीज आखिर में और बोलूंगा, दुनिया में सबसे 10 टफेस्ट एग्जाम होता है, उसमें 3 हमारा देश में, जेई, सिविल सर्विस एंड गेट। हमारा देश का जो आज लीडर है, दे ऑल मेनी ऑफ देम हैज कम थ्रू दिस 3 three categories, and they are giving the leadership of our country. And you and me, every one of us, will put together hand and support this government and support this present leadership. I am very, very sure days are numbered. We will be the best leadership. Although Madam has already told, after putting the Chandrayaan 3 in the South Pole, India is the first, and this position nobody can take. And India is such a country, nobody can take this leadership share from us. सभी को आई हैव ट्राइड टू एक्सप्लेन द पोजीशन ऑफ इंडिया, और आप मेरे को बोलने का मौका दिया है। अब मैं सभी को एक बार पुनः नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thanks a lot, sir, for your address. I'm sure all present here gained a lot from your words of experience. And now, without much further ado, I would like to request our chief guest, Mr. Rajesh Mago, to kindly grace us with his enlightening thoughts.
Thank you, dear. Morning. Morning, everyone. Are we still awake? All right. Okay. Firstly, let me thank you. Thank you both. And all the other profs, by the way. It's always great to come to the institute. Actually, very personal reason as well. That I also come from an academician's family. Both my folks were professor. And unfortunately, they aren't here. God bless their souls. But I think it'll be fair to say that every year, relentlessly, this is the kind of talent that gets produced, and it only happens because of you all. So thank you so much. All right, folks. Lot has been said already. I don't know if you have. All right, I'm going to try and do two things. I'm going to try and make it a little lighter. The environment seems to me pretty serious right now, and I'm not used to it. All right, coming from the internet new age economy, I'm not used to it. I'll tell you, I thank God bless my wife that she told me to wear the jacket today because one, it was Saturday, two, we are used to, again, I said internet economy and free dress code. I would have been absolutely underdressed looking all of you. Right? It's so formal, and when I was getting out of the car and I saw so many people with suits and jackets, I was saying, oh my God, she saved me today, like they do always. All right. And the second thing, then, when I was sitting here, my friend, what's your name, host? Puneet, you embarrassed the hell out of me with this one-page introduction. And I'm going to tell my PR team for sure that please keep it short. Really, really, because it's just very embarrassing. And maybe it's a personal thing, but it's really embarrassing. No, you did a great job, by the way, in terms of, what you were articulating. But I think it's just embarrassing. Um, all right. So, what I'm going to do in the next maybe 10 minutes, I will share some of my thoughts, keeping the theme in mind, and then try to make it a lot more interactive. All right. I think you have already few questions on your mind, but I'll encourage you to think more and whatever, and you keep watching the watch, but whatever time permitting, whatever question, thoughts that you might have on your mind, please ask. There might be a great opportunity, and let's try to make it more interactive, and maybe we'll have more energy in the room and relaxed energy. All right. The other part of energy we've heard a lot, and he's the guru of that. I just learned 35 years in that industry. You've already had so much of words of wisdom from my friend Gopal here. It's unbelievable. It's just the wealth of experience and from the heart that he was talking about. Okay, let me just tell you, let's just bring the focus back on the theme of yours today. And Sangeeta ma'am was talking about it, that, first thing first, that we have to all start to think very big about it, which is invariably will get linked to, can we think big? Can we have a vision or not? And my thought today is that I'm going to just uh, slightly also share a contrarian view, because we should always be cognizant of reality as well. So just bear with me. My view today is that we do have vision. We actually have vision at the country level. And I'm going to talk lot more about country level in my talk. And then you can ask me all the questions that you want to ask me about make my trip, our journey, learnings, and I'll be happy to share all those learnings with you. But I think we have vision. I think we're already thinking big. But before we start to think that we have arrived, and we now need to start to think that we need to be a world leader, we should be mindful of the fact that our journey in India has just about started. Just about started. And it is perfect time for you all to graduate and get into the corporate world or whatever you would want to do in India. Because I I can tell you, and I'll share more sort of thoughts around that with you. I don't think the timing could be any better in terms of the platform, the environment, and the inflection point that India is at, in terms of just the opportunity, just the sheer size of opportunity that is in front of us. So before we start to think about mindset wise, you must think super big. Mindset wise, you must think that you want to not necessarily be India leader, you want to be world leader. ISRO is a great example of that. But be cognizant of the fact that there is tremendous amount of opportunity and responsibility that we all have to serve our country first, because there's a lot that we need to do. There's really, really lot. As you scratch the surface or peel the onion, you would realize that you have a lot more to do. There is one other aspect why I think India is presenting a great opportunity. Some of that Gopal was already sharing that India and some of the data points that and minus the political rhetoric, right? Just real facts that whether India is growing at a GDP growth rate better than rest of the world, it's a very factual thing to do, right? Yes, we are. And does it present ourselves to, let's say a next decade or two or more to India in terms of just consistent growth? The answer is yes to that as well. I think we are absolutely well poised to do that as well. Have we been able to control the inflation very effectively relative to the rest of the world? Yes, the answer to that is also yes. Have we been able to spend tremendously on infrastructure over the last years? And this is always a journey, rather than focusing on whether last 10 years was better than the previous 10 years and all of that. Just think for the last 30 years, right? Because see, our job, to be honest, unless somebody wants to pursue a political career, which is also not a bad thing these days, as Gopal was alluding to. A lot of that need is also there, and a lot of the professionals are going into that ecosystem as well. But if you ignore that for a minute, right? Although that also is very important, you have to tom-tom about it because it's a democratic country and you have to win votes. But I will keep that aside for a minute. If you stay focused on just the facts and the reality and on the ground, what's happening, I think it's just very clear whether it is GDP growth or inflation control or the forex reserves or the middle class population or the sheer number of talented people that we have, the entrepreneurial ability, and now for that matter, a lot of capital sort of flowing into India as well. All these factors put together represents a great opportunity in my mind, right? And we can go deeper into it, but I think it'll be sufficient to say that I think it's going very well. We've recovered from whether it is entrepreneurial spirit. We did a great job managing COVID. Of course, we did a great job managing COVID as well. There's no question about it. All right. But let me just also share. So this is about India. What is happening in India right now, right? But I think there is another perspective to this. The opportunity is also bigger because rest of the world is not doing very well. And I think that we have a window of opportunity that we should never ever miss. Because guess what? You cannot underestimate any of the other developed countries because they are already there, one developed and supernatural super powers, right? Many of them, right? Pick up any region. We are talking about that we want to be a third largest economy, but guess what? There are five economies already larger than us today, isn't it? Right? And they've also been doing a fantastic job in the past. But let's take one by one now. Why do I think that the opportunity is become suddenly 2x or more? Because rest of the world is going through shit right now. Let's talk about China. China, and I'm going to just give you an example of make my trip to make the point. 2010, we listed in US. 2010, right? It's 13 years. 2010, as part of our IPO pitch, you can go into the archives and see. We had a slide comparing ourselves, our story with China story, compare our India economy with China economy, because that was flavor of the year back then. And there was a reason. And we used to say at that point in time, data backed. All right, take it with a pinch of salt. China data is always little fuzzy, but real data that China was, if not more than 10x, at least 10x more than India. We were 10 years behind, or maybe 15 years behind, because they had marched ahead significantly at that point in time. What has happened in the last 5 years? There is a massive setback in China. I think both economically, leadership wise, country leadership wise, because I think I do believe that the world is going through a very, very poor set of leaders at this point in time, the rest of the world, because they have their own operating style, which is very, very autocratic in nature. Right? Some of them have gotten into war also. Right? We'll come to that. But if you stay focused in China, because China was supposed to be the emerging economy and some time back, the immediate benefit of China not doing well today for their reasons, we don't need to worry about it. Let them fix their order. In fact, I want China to also be in this situation for another 5-10 years and give us an opportunity. That's the window of opportunity, because I'm getting the immediate benefit of that, because China is not able to export as much as they used to. The reason for that is again leadership and their behavior and the position they ended up taking during COVID. I don't know how much do you know about China economy, but the new age fintech industry that was booming there. We learned a lot from there. Digitization, by the way, we should do a lot of credit today to become leader and marching ahead today. But we learned, the reality is also we learned from them. All right. And we should not forget that. But the good thing is that we marched ahead, we learned, and then now, and we've sort of picked up the pace. In certain cases, we become the leader now. All right. So China is one, very, very big economy. And I often say that please don't underestimate. They can bounce back, but I do think, all things considered, we have at least a 5 years opportunity before they bounce back. And that is the opportunity that India is, will benefit out of it, and it is for us to seize. Let us go to the other parts of the world. Look at Russia-Ukraine situation, right? When there is war in the country, what happens to the economy? It goes through downturn. There's no question about it. They're all busy fighting right now. Poor Ukraine is on the receiving end, but rest of the world is supporting Ukraine as well, and therefore they're putting up a brave fight, right? They were not in position to do it on their own. Geopolitical global needs, the rest of the world is supporting, but they'll keep fighting. I mean, in today's world, when you have nuclear weapons, nobody could have imagined war will happen. And guess what? That war is still continuing after a year. All right. But good news for India from an economy standpoint. India's stance to actually import oil from Russia during this, by the way, may not go very well with many, many countries because of a different reason. And I agree with that reason at a personal level. but economically, it was the best decision for India. I think it helped. Otherwise, today, when we are in position to make a statement that we are doing very well in controlling inflation, we would not have been in a position if we wouldn't have taken that decision to import cheaper oil from Russia or done the deal. So I would say it was a smart decision from an economic standpoint, right? A very smart decision, very timely decision. It has done wonders. That one decision has changed the game for India. From an inflation standpoint, otherwise we would have been absolutely in shambles. All right. So they are in mess. America, we know the growth rate. Everybody is talking about recession, 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 recession. No analyst today has been able to bail America out even today. And that is why you see Fed always coming back and saying, even yesterday they made a statement that the interest rate can further go up. That is just monetary intervention. You guys are business students, you would understand this, right? That is monetary policy interventions that the central bank of the country always does. And they're still continuing to do it. And I think the US has another big problem. I was talking about leadership deficit. US is also suffering from leadership deficit. And I don't know, for some strange reasons, and then that is true across the world, and quite a bit of it is in India as well, that why do politicians have to just not let go when they reach a certain age? They have to just let go and pave way for the youngsters to come in, the next level of leadership to come in. Unfortunately, it doesn't really happen, and it has to do with maybe power or control or whatever, right? But that's for another day. But that is the problem, that if Biden is going to again fight next year, and there is no serious alternative who's going to fight it out, US has a serious problem. All right. We were talking about debt situation in any case, as Gopal mentioned. America, China, two large economies. Let's come to UK, where we got a younger PM. Last time I went to UK, I don't know how much you guys study. He's already gone down on popularity. His rating has already gone down. So Sunak, unfortunately, is not going to be in the reckoning. I thought he was a smart guy, really, really smart. He did a great job as finance minister, but I did not get the sense after talking to a few people in circles that he's doing very well in UK. And the economy is very bad. They haven't really recovered from Brexit shock. They haven't really recovered. And the inflation rate is crazy and so on and so forth. So economy is bad. And everything that I'm talking about is more economy. I'm not talking about political at all. All right. And so that's about UK. Come to Europe. Europe में तो काम ही किसी को नहीं करना. Where they're all lazy, they're all busy fighting privacy laws, data laws, 3 days work in a week, 4 days work in a week, and so on and so forth. That's what Europe is. If you are going to by any chance get an opportunity on global support or global back office, by the way, and if you get a client who's going to be on the other side from Europe, you can be rest assured that your life is very easy. You will not learn a lot, but life is going to be very easy. कोई काम ही नहीं करता है वहाँ. So there is, and people, I mean, I was amazed in seeing a demonstration. Firstly, at a leisure trip, middle of the week, south of France, and Spain, actually both. We were in a beach, middle of the week, crowded. And I'm wondering, middle of the week, it's not a holiday period. Why the hell people are on beach? It turned out that they were already fighting for it was not Friday, it was Thursday, because they were fighting for 4-day work week, and that was supposed to be a demonstration just to try to prove a point that people are on the beach. So that's Europe. Europe is going to, and Europe is also, again, there are many, many countries. They're very good, strong, developed countries. But from a growth standpoint, I'm not sure they're doing anything earth shaking today. Rest of the emerging countries, neighboring countries, close to India. Vietnam is an emerging economy, by the way. Indonesia is an emerging economy. But we are far, far ahead. We're far, far ahead. So, therefore, now I don't think Middle East is another, right? Middle East is an opportunity that is actually up our alley. We have a lot of Middle East economy is oil-driven economy effectively, but I think that is India. If India has to further grow like a economy-wise world leader, or let's say businesses-wise world leader, you have to first think regional and then go world. I think Middle East is a great market, emerging, changing. Saudi, UAE, some part of bordering Middle East and Europe countries, Greece and Turkey, great economies. And it's a great opportunity for Indians to grow into that market. Make My Trip has done some small step towards that. Similarly, emerging markets, the Southeast Asia market, India again can grow, because emerging markets, you know what the emerging market situation is, what the consumer behavior, etc., is. You can get into the country and you can definitely, make your mark. So, therefore, you bring all of this together, you would suddenly realize not necessarily because India KPIs are already doing better. Just one small point that I will tell you all that we should never forget, because public memory is very short, we tend to forget that all these numbers that you see today, don't forget the 2 years we lost in between. So compare these numbers always with pre-pandemic numbers. So 2019, this is what we do at Make My Trip. We don't compare year-on-year growth. We don't compare year-on-2-year growth. We compare growth on year on pandemic year growth, which is 2019-20. March 20 was pandemic, right? Because that will give you reality, what kind of growth that you're achieving. Because you suddenly would realize, now think about this as a country level, that we would have lost 3 years, 2 years in COVID, third year in recovery. Similarly, inflation. If you see the inflation rates, compare it with 2019. This is just, more, as you go deeper and all that. Notwithstanding any of that, perfect opportunity. Not necessarily we are doing very well in India because the rest of the world is not doing well at all. So therefore, it's a great opportunity, perfect timing for you all to get into the industry and make the difference. Perfect. Absolutely couldn't be better. Now, here is, before I end, here is the word of caution, right? And I'm going to link it back with vision. You have to think big, keep thinking big, and you have to have vision. And without vision, you will never, never, ever be able to move forward. But guess what? As we say always in the corporate world, and I think Sangeeta ma'am beautifully alluded to it, without execution, vision has zero meaning. All right. So, what is that can happen that we would end up missing this opportunity that is all in front of us at the country level? Let me tell you a few things that we need to be super careful about. And all of them will be more relentless execution, nothing else. We cannot stop, point number one, we cannot stop our journey on reforms. We've started the journey, we're doing some path breaking reforms. We cannot stop our journey on reforms. We will have to continuously keep moving towards that. If we put brakes on it, we will not achieve, forget about the world leader, anecdote, sheer, talent that India brings to the table in pockets, whether it'll be sports or it'll be, space research or it'll be few other areas, we may still be world leaders. But economically, if we have to become world leader, before that, we have to first become developed country. We will have to continue to keep doing reforms. A lot of these per capita numbers that Gopal was mentioning, they're all very powerful numbers. But there is a little bit of a sachai underneath it. And what is that sachai? Can anyone tell me? Sorry? Sorry, what? No. What is that? Disparity is one, he spoke about it. What else? So please realize that it is all because of our denominator. Because our denominator is huge. So when we compare with the rest of the countries per capita, the difference is our size of population. And I'm telling you, as we start analyzing the data and the market from a business growth standpoint, we have stopped using 1.3 or 1.4 billion as denominator because 700 and 800 million out of this, 50% of the population out of this, has no consuming power except for groceries because they're still struggling. Their income is very, very frugal, right? So keep that thing in mind because I don't think it's a like to like comparison because our per capita income for first 500 and 600 million is much higher than 1.4 billion. You get that, right? It's simple math, right? Simple math. Suddenly, your business strategies could change. Suddenly, your go to market strategy could change. So, staying with that thought, right? So, you cannot mess with not doing more and more reforms. What are the good examples of reforms? No, the country has gone through. Sorry, what? Insolvency is the latest one. No, everywhere. Across the board, if you would see judiciary, there is an effort. Tax structures, there is an effort. GST is a big example of a reform. Massive. The inclusive distribution of subsidies is a massive reform. Aadhaar is a massive step towards reforms. And what is that Aadhaar going to do? Inclusivity and digitization, right? Digitization, massive, massive. I mean, it's infra spend, but across the board, the digitization drive is actually squarely driven by government, right? When you look at technology industry, if I take your mind back, we started with IT and ITS industry first, which was software development of a different kind. Again, doing it for the rest of the world, not necessarily for India as much. And BPOs, ITES, IT enabled. Again, because we had a lot of people and English speaking population, we started serving the rest of the world, not India. All right. Then it moved to telecom revolution, right? Telecom revolution eventually gave birth to new generation bandwidth, 2G, 3G, 4G, many scams and the rest of it, but eventually 5G, right? After that, and that was the foundational stone for internet economy. Without bandwidth, nothing was happening. Whatever you see on WhatsApp, you would not be in position to see it if the bandwidth was narrow, which was back then in 2010 when we IPO'd. We used to have only 1 million people with broadband, 120 million narrowband, not 1 million, 10 million, right? So the tech revolution, the infrastructure spending, and then the physical infrastructure spending. That is the second point I want to make. One is, of course, reforms. Agriculture reforms, we still need to. We started doing it. Obviously, there were step backs and all. And in a democratic country, it will take time. It's a journey. But we need to continue to keep doing it. We need to have more and more people coming in the tax bracket. We need to have more and more transparency. We need to continue to spend. That's the second point. Continue to keep spending on infrastructure. You will not be able to expand economy if you are not spending on infrastructure. And today we are doing the number of airports, the road infrastructure, the railways is going through reforms and all, thankfully, right? Because without connectivity, how are you going to connect the world? I mean, connect India first before you connect the world, right? With respect to our, let's say, tourism industry, we keep talking about. And I'm saying, yes, it has huge amount of potential from a demand sentiment standpoint. But guess what? During COVID, we started exploring India. We just recently did a tie-up with Ministry of Tourism, etc. All the players in the ecosystem are working towards it. But what happens when there are rains in the hills? Even before rains, and he was mentioning about climate change. Of course, is a massive issue that world is facing, and we need to. I think we are spending less or investing less in it, and we need to. Every country has to do. That's a very big topic of focus for the entire world. But if you if you look at India, key destination infrastructure, Shimlas and the Manalis and the Nainitals of this world, we have one beach location which is Goa, effectively, right? We bust literally during peak period. We can't handle the crowd. We just cannot. Now, if you have to see that there is an opportunity, huge amount of demand, there is growing income in everybody's pockets, and therefore they want to spend more. What is it you need to do? You will have to improve that infrastructure significantly. It'll be journey, but there has to be willingness and commitment and money put behind this. Let me tell you the third thing that has changed significantly in India now, and we should not stop that, and we should encourage more and more, and that is capital availability for businesses. Today, thanks to China, thanks to rest of the world not doing that great, we are getting lot of capital from the world. Lot of capital from the world. We do not today have our own financial institutions. They don't really have capacity for more than one reasons to provide that capital need that the country needs. You need more capital. Therefore, Prime Minister will go out and meet all the investors, meet all the people, and we say, make in India, come and invest in India. What does that mean? It's effectively resources, capital, right? And financial capital galore. The other reason why we don't have it, I don't know if you noticed it, just before yesterday there was a news item, and I've been um, and it's the demographic compulsion of our country that we will have to make reforms, but it is going to be slow paced. The social security money, all the provident funds and the pension funds money. I don't know if you know, not more than 10% as of today that we are allowed, that institution is allowed a ton of money, surplus of funds to put back into equity investment because the guideline is very, very safe. And that might be right because we need to protect a lot more people with their hard-earned money, etc. But if you compare it with the developed market and you go over to Canada with the Canada Pension Fund or America with their pension funds, 100% of their money is back into the equity, 100%. And they produce a lot more returns for people. PF interest of 7, 8, 9% is a burden. I don't think we invest in security because you end up investing in government securities. Government only has to pay that much money because there are opportunities in the market, and if there are other opportunities, if you manage the funds right, you will be able to produce better returns. And now they have put an application to increase from 10 to 15, which is what I was referring to just day before yesterday. The point I'm trying to make is that the right a huge amount of capital only because of the size of the opportunity that we have. We are getting it from the world. We should not stop that. We should be very, very careful in our narrative. We should be very, very careful with our reforms that we keep getting the capital and people should not spook, and then otherwise people just take money out overnight. All right. In the prosperity that is happening, see the new age economy. Let me just tell you one last point on new age economy, and then we just stop. The new age economy, which is the digitization and the internet based businesses, right? For the last very young industry, just 2 decades old, literally, right? Has come a long way. You know what this has done? It has created an ecosystem of the capital and the resources, not necessarily the institutional investors' money, think like SBI equivalent and all the big funds, but also private equity. Lot of the family offices' wealth globally and even in India from all the industrialists and people who are from the accomplished people have got created a lot of wealth is coming back through the private equity system, going back into the economy through the private equity VC route. Also angel investments. So Binny and Sachin, if they ended up making a $1 billion exit in Flipkart, where do you think that money is gone? Lot of, first of all, that money has gone to the government because they had to pay taxes. What does that do? That goes back into the economy, right? Right? Where is the rest of the money going? Sachin has set up a new venture. Binny is busy investing in India through the private equity. So a lot of this prosperity that you see, they may not be making money in their businesses, but they end up contributing to the economy hell of a lot in terms of capital ecosystem. So, but this is very small, but it's very encouraging sign that is this ecosystem is developing. So we should not stop reforms around the FDI because we still need a lot of capital, because otherwise we will not be able to forget about world leader, we will not be able to achieve the growth targets that we have for the next 10 years. Because without money, nothing will happen. You'll have to keep investing. And then just the absolutely last point is the technology development and research shouldn't stop. We are doing fantastically well. We have transitioned from a services backend hub to now actually becoming product and services company. Serious amount of technology development, guys, is happening in India. The new cutting technology development that is happening in India. And that is the reason, and that is one of the biggest reasons that we are able to sort of march ahead on digitization, almost become world leader. People are learning from us. We learned from China just the digital smartphone technology, you know, uh, base technology or the applications on top of it. But the rest of the world is learning from us. All right. So net, what I would say is perfect opportunity for you all. Absolutely right timing for you to step out and make the difference. Great opportunity in India. Don't look outside, if I may say so. I've told that to my son as well. So I'm telling you, because here is where the opportunity is for you to be able to look at personal career growths. All right. Okay, I'll stop at this and open to questions. All right. Thank you.
I'm sure all of the audience members have questions. Please raise your hand if you have questions. We begin with you.
Hello, sir. First of all, it's a pleasure to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
You were talking about technology. Sir, as take my trip, how are we leveraging artificial intelligence to grow from growth leader to a world
Yeah,
leader?
yeah. No, I think it's a great point. And I was talking about, technology transition that India is going through. And this new technology, which is generative AI, by the way, AI was always there. All right. This is the new version of AI, which is generative AI. And that, to my mind, is hugely promising. And we should always keep in mind and be never get confused about the dark side of technology that always exists. So the way to deal with the dark side, as you will see every now and then an article, right? I mean, yesterday there was a scary video you mentioned about WhatsApp University. WhatsApp University always gives you strange videos these days, right? There's scary video where if you are typing your password, let's say on keyboard, it'll get copied, right? Or this technology can pick it up. What that means is this is an alert for you. Be careful. That doesn't mean that now you have to have a sort of people lobbying and saying kill the technology. That's the last thing that you should do, right? But let me tell you what we are trying to do at Make My Trip. So we started doing um, looking for applications that we can use using this technology. So there are, in fact, coming Monday there's a massive review meeting around it But three things that we've identified, and one we've already done a beta launch. We figured that now the next level of growth in the internet business is going to come from beyond 25 cities, right? Because the urban population internet penetration is already about 60%. Beyond 25 cities, it's about 30% right now, 35%, but e-commerce penetration is pretty low. So, and there is a language barrier, because not necessarily everybody speaks in English or types in English, right? So the vernacular language, the voice input combination, and then presenting the results into English or Hindi or any of the regional languages, have a conversational flow for you to be able to do the flight booking, for example, or to be able to do the packages booking, for example. There's a combination of voice and regional language together. That's one thing that we're trying to do. The other thing that we've already actually gone live with is, there are a lot of reviews on our, if you would have done a hotel booking on our platform, there are a lot of reviews, the user generated content, people reviews, people go and travel, they give the review whether the place was good, not so good, etc. Right? But there is huge amount of description. So we leveraging this technology, what we've done is that we have brought in the sentiment of all the 200 reviews together and have given a summary now, just the gist of it. And I think it's just being appreciated very well. And the third thing that we are trying to also to see is the area of productivity enhancement, which is for a lot of engineers, a lot of the programming, the basic level of programming that you can now solve with this. And that doesn't mean that they're going to lose their jobs, by the way. They're just going to upgrade themselves to next level of technologies. So these are the three areas that we've identified, but it's a long way to go. It's going to be journey. Um, I think the important message in any new technology, because we got excited with blockchain in the past, we got excited with metaverse also. You have to see with respect to your business the application of that technology. The focus should be how am I going to apply and build that use case so that I'm able to improve the customer experience or enhance productivity, rather than just getting carried away with the noise around you. All right. Okay.
I'm sure a lot of you have questions, but due to paucity of time, we can only take one more question, sir.
All right. One more.
Abhishek, please go ahead.
Um,
Yes.
that make my things. And on that note, what do you think were the drivers that drove this particular success for Make My Trip? And how do you plan to keep momentous success?
Yeah. No, okay, great. No, I think it's a great observation. But let me tell you, it was easier said than done. Really hard work, because you see, if there was one industry that got disrupted so badly because of COVID, was travel. So 2 years was hell, you know. And if I give you sort of one number, and when we faced that situation, we also had shivers in our bodies. So when the lockdown was announced, the subsequent quarter, our the top line, which was $6 billion annual, to break that into billion and a half in a quarter. The next quarter we were down to it was down by 95%. So effectively nothing. All right, and we had 4,000 people, three brands, some angel investments to take care of. Right, just to make the point on saying that there will be difficult cycles. Right, and if you are on the journey which is long, which a long-term vision, and then you want to build solid business, you're not a fly-by-night operator, then you need to not necessarily panic about that difficult situation. So we started working on it. It took 2 years to 2 years was in any case, Delta 1, Delta 2, this, that, and the other was pandemic. Third year, full year, the point that I was making earlier in the context of the country as well, was only recovery. Fiscal year 22, 23, full year, we had just about reached to the pre-pandemic numbers. So it almost rebuilding of the business happened, which is the annual number I gave you, about $6 billion, which is non-trivial, right? So 2 years, the third year, finally we got to that number. As we got into the first fiscal year, we were quite positive, quite optimistic. The world had opened up, it was unrestricted, that we'll get into a growth year. The other thing that helped us during that COVID period was the focus on life post pandemic while we were dealing with the crisis. So we actually, contrary to a lot of people, we made huge amount of investments in those 2 years in building new platforms, multiple platforms that we built, and we also did a lot of initiatives in terms of changing our cost structures. And then as we were recovering the business, all of that started to contribute. The next level of growth, the bottom line, and then the corner was turned effectively. So I think it was not necessarily one sort of magic wand that you would end up doing it. It's basically a combination of 20 things. At the end, the resilience shown by the team effectively to be able to get to that stage. But I think the most important point was while you're managing the crisis, you still have to think about future. And maybe the difficult times actually present yourself a great opportunity as well. And for us, the opportunity was that we had huge amount of resources. Thankfully, we had some money on the balance sheet. So we didn't want to, we had to take harsh decision, very small portion of our people to go. But a lot of our population was still there. All the engineers were still there, but they had no business as usual work. So we deployed all of them into future areas. What would help us post pandemic? So if you were thinking long term, use an opportunity, seize that opportunity, invest behind, it's only going to help you in the future. I think some of these factors would have helped. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. I'm sure that this interaction has been valuable learning experience for all of us. I now request our acting director, Professor Bhardwaj, to kindly present our venerated chief guest, Mr. Mago, with a memento as an expression of our gratitude. Round of applause. I now request our Dean Industry Connect, Professor Rai, to present a memento to our esteemed guest of honor, Mr. Sikdar, a gesture of our deep appreciation. I now request members of the Samvaad team, Sangram and Ramesh, to present Professor Bhardwaj and Professor Rai with a memento as a token of appreciation. Sangram. We will also request Richa and Abhilasha to present mementos to Professor Kulshresht and Professor Tripathi with a memento as token of appreciation. Round of applause. With this, we come to the conclusion of our inaugural session. I would once again like to thank our dignitaries, faculty, and students for gracing the occasion. We now break for tea for 20 minutes. I request you all to reassemble here after 20 minutes for our first panel discussion. We also assemble in the lawns for a photo before the high tea. Thank you so much for being here. So, a lot of photos have been taken. We take a big photo in the lawns.